Well, enough talk about bass migration routes. Let's actually go under the water and see them. Now, this is a follow-up video to one that I did last week about how soon that bass actually move shallow, and I was really excited in the days following that video to figure out, okay, how are they getting to this location? How are they getting to this dock? And there's really two ways when it comes down to it. This particular bay right here, I figured, one, they're either coming through the center and the deepest part, which is about 10 foot, and then working their way up to this particular dock, or they're going to come all the way down the shallows next to the shoreline and get there. But I wasn't sure last week, so I did some investigating. Well, first things first, there are a ton of bass still coming to this location, to this dock. When they actually get ready to spawn, it's going to be pretty exciting in here because there's a lot of fish coming to this one area. Now, that big female bass that was here, she did move out, and we could probably assume that the rest of them here are a bunch of buck bass. They're the first ones to move up anyway and kind of scout things out. Now, on a side note, I have no idea what this sunfish is doing right here. I think the little guy needs to reboot and get that dive bubble figured out. So first, let's go ahead and start at this dock and then go straight down into the depths. As you see right away, it doesn't take long and that light penetration really starts to fall off. Now, this in itself can be a migration route where the bass can move and kind of hang down there in the shadows. Now, as I continue down the bottom of the lake here towards the bottom of this particular bay, we see a little bit of vegetation, and then all of a sudden, boom, it just stops. It gets right into the mud and the muck, and this very defined edge can often be a migration route. Now, I looked both to the left and to the right. I couldn't find any sort of life down here whatsoever. So then I went and brought the camera up and started to investigate right down the shoreline. Now, the first thing that I noticed, about every 30 feet or so, there was something. There could have been a really small stick. Here we've even got a branch that fell into the water somehow and is sticking straight up. It almost looks like a stump. The vegetation up here is a little bit taller, starting to grow. And it didn't take long, and I started to find bass using this more defined cover. The weeds are a little taller. They feel comfortable in here. They're hanging out in the wood. And I also noticed a whole bunch of sunfish and bluegills hanging out up here in the shallow shoreline cover as well. Doesn't hurt to have some snacks on your migration route. So as of right now, today, I'm 99% sure that the majority of those bass that are under this dock are getting there by following that shallow shoreline. And as a bass angler, that's such critical information. Now, if I didn't see any panfish up here whatsoever, none, but there was still a bunch of bass under this dock, well, then it's probably a pretty good bet that they were moving deeper to get here. So these are kind of the adjustments and the things that we need to look for on a daily basis when it concerns how bass get to and from certain areas. And hey, if you would like to watch a video on this single concept that changed my bass fishing forever, go ahead and check this video out right here. And don't forget to go out and encourage someone today. You never know how you might just change their life. For the Bass Fishing Life, I'm your host, Steve Rogers.